Ramadan is often a season where we step back from the hustle and bustle of daily life and realign our priorities. Our religious and spiritual obligations tend to take central stage, naturally, but some of us have even personal goals. Sometimes it's a habit that we want to develop, other times it's a habit that we want to get rid of for the month. The problem is Ramadan often starts and all of a sudden is done before we even know it. So how can we stay mindful during the holiest month of the year, and how can we take the most or gain the most out of it? Hi friends, my name is Mohammed and I'm a writer based in New York City with an MFA in creative writing, and this channel is all about helping writers develop a writing habit, improve their craft, and find inspiration to tell their unique stories. And in this video, I want to share 5 things to make your Ramadan experience more mindful, meaningful, so that you can gain the most out of it. And let's get started. And number 1 is limit your social media use. And who's amongst us that is not struggling with being glued on your screen, scrolling through social media? And the reason why we should limit our social media because it's a distraction from our current present moment, or the experience of the fasting or the standing in salah or in prayer, or doing the other worships that have to do with Ramadan. Social media takes us off that moment and we are immediately distracted or immediately consumed by whatever the algorithm presents us with. And one way to limit our social media use is cold turkey, delete all the apps. And there is a lot of value in doing that during the month of Ramadan. Outside the month of Ramadan, it's actually not the smartest strategy. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. There's another way to do it, and this is one way that I have been able to successfully be consistent in, which is limiting your social media use in the most crucial time. For example, I no longer use social media or even be on my phone on any other app, WhatsApp, email, none of it, an hour before bed and the few hours after my waking. So for me, I have this rule called the 9 to 9 rule. So I go on my phone, I have limited all the use of my apps except for text messages and phone calls for those who have my number. And so 9 p.m. hits, all the apps closes and they don't open until the next day, 9 a.m. And what that has helped with, specifically on the social media side, is that I'm no longer feeling the urge to wake up and scroll or check my messages on WhatsApp or do any of that on the first hour. The first thing I do, I get up, brush my teeth, do the whole thing, and I go to work, and I don't arrive to work until like maybe 8:30. I still can't be on my phone doing anything that's entertaining, so I log in. Sometimes I like check my work email or like write that list that I have to do for that day, whatever the case might be. By the time it's 9 o'clock, I'm either already in meetings, busy with something to do at work, and so I don't get to be on social media or on any messaging apps until maybe 11 or sometimes 12 p.m. So in a way, I'm not taking a break from my phone from 9 to 9. It's actually from 9 maybe to 12 or to 11 for noontime. And it's been working great. I feel a lot better. I have less urge to just like scroll and be on social media. I mean, I'm still like on TikTok maybe or on YouTube Shorts in the afternoon, but it's not as it used to be before. The second tip is spend time alone journaling. Now, in the Islamic tradition, we have this sitting to reflection, holding yourself accountable for your actions and for your sort of development and what you have gained and what you lack, and sort of holding yourself accountable in a way where it promotes growth. We have that in the Islamic tradition, and one way to do it is just sit down and reflect and just think about it. But I think that's a less helpful way. I think the best way to do it is to actually journal about it, because one, you solidify your shortcomings, your successes, or whatever you want to improve or continue, and you give them a physical existence so that in future years you can look back at your growth, what you have grown at, and what you have been lacking consistently at, so that you can address it in that specific year, and doubling down on it. And another helpful way that journaling can be used is literally by just listing the things that you are grateful for. I mean, there's a whole thing about gratitude journaling where you are talking about the things that you are grateful for, because oftentimes, and especially like someone like me who lives in the United States, our life is so much easier in comparison to most people on this earth. And so list the things that you are grateful for, whether it's something within your body, your eyesight, your hearing, something internal, your health, or even the people that you are with, your family, and the things that you have, like your job or your car or your home. I can go on and on and on, and it does not stop. Tip number 3 is focus on quality, not quantity. It is a habit of ours that before Ramadan we sit down and we list some goals. And goal setting is a very, very good habit because it gives you direction. Hopefully you are not just setting goals, you're setting a plan on how to accomplish those goals on a weekly basis. And if you do that, then how many goals you are listing? And sometimes some of us will list 10, 20 goals to accomplish that Ramadan. That's not the point. The point is not to be constantly busy. The point is to start Ramadan and finish it and be someone new. Be 1% better than you were on the first day of Ramadan. So focus on developing 1 to 3 habits that you have been struggling with developing for the past few years. So use Ramadan as a momentum for you to develop those habits, but do not use it as a pocket of you being spiritually in tune, fulfilling your religious obligations, and in a way where you overwhelm yourself, burn yourself out, and then once Ramadan finish, you're not able to stay at least with half of the things that you started. Obviously, we cannot do the things in the way, in the quantity that we do in Ramadan outside Ramadan. Otherwise, Ramadan would not have any specialty. But at least after Ramadan, you're able to keep up with at least half, maybe 1/3 of what you have already started. So think, before you start Ramadan, what are the things that I want to start Ramadan? Use it as a sort of fuel, use it as a jump starter for the things that I want to keep up after Ramadan. Yes, there are things that you will be doing only in Ramadan, like Taraweeh and fasting and all of these things, but there are very specific things, 1 to 3 things that you want to start in Ramadan, and then after Ramadan you want to continue. List those so that you can have laser focus on doing quality work, not quantity. Tip number 4, stop eating. And I'm not talking about fasting. Don't overindulge when you are breaking your fast. This is something that I learned over the years. Like, I've seen so much reward from it internally, and it's such a fruitful habit to have. When you are breaking your fast, do not overindulge with food. First, your stomach is not ready after it gets used to the fasting period, maybe the first 3 days. It's not always ready when you break a fast for heavy foods. So start with something light. Start with dates and milk. Start with dates and water, maybe soup. What I usually do, this doesn't work for everyone just because of schedule and people's lifestyle, appetite. It doesn't work for everyone. But for me, the best thing that I do is I break my fast with dates, milk, water, maybe soup, and that's it. I'm a Yemeni, so I obviously eat samosas every single day, but it'll be 2 to 3 samosas at max, no more than that. And then I go for Taraweeh. When I come back, then I'll have my lunch, dinner, whatever you want to call it. And that will be maybe like kapsa, or chicken over rice, or whatever we are cooking that day. My wife's cooking that day. And then I go to sleep. I don't eat after that until before I start my fast in sahur. And so I'm left with 1 big meal after Taraweeh, and then 1 smaller meal, but it's still a big meal before I start my fast. And so this way I am not always full to the rim, and I go to Taraweeh and I can't even breathe, or I'm breaking my fast and I want to go to sleep. You don't want to overtax your body where all your blood is in your stomach trying to digest food while you want to be focused and building your spiritual development and doing all of the other things that it requires energy up here, not down here. The 5th tip is be present with your family and community. And I know Ramadan is usually a month where it's more about yourself, your solitude, and self-reflection and improving yourself. And all that is true. But it's also an opportunity for you to reach out to a sibling or a cousin or a family member that have been distant from you. Reach out to someone or a friend that is struggling and might need just a word of encouragement or just someone to check on them. This is the opportunity where you are building your connections with people that you haven't spoken to in a very long time. Another way to think about this is that when you are eating, or even during the day when you are with your kids, with your family, with your spouse, is make sure that you are spending quality time. talk about, you know, how is their Ramadan and their experience, the stuff that they are learning, the stuff that they think that they can or will continue after Ramadan, the habits that they want to keep. Those conversations, when they are intentional, when you are setting time for them, and you don't have to have like a schedule for them, but if you are just sitting down waiting for iftar to start, and you just, you know, you ask a question, or you just, you know, promote a conversation, they tend to have some sort of reward to them, like an internal reward, because we are social creatures, and we live by having connections to others and having inside jokes and things that makes that relationship special. Whether you talk to your kids on how their day is at school, especially with Ramadan, what are their most you know, their hardest challenges, or your spouse about, you know, what they did at work or at home, whatever the case might be. Ask questions, allow people to talk about themselves, and you become the listener, and obviously they will do the same to you, and make sure you are sharing stories about your own experience during the day or during that week. That's it for this video, and if you have watched this far and you enjoyed it, then do not miss my video here on the habit that changed my life, which is a habit that you might be able to use this upcoming Ramadan. In the meantime, thank you for watching, and Ramadan Mubarak.